The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, otherwise known as the Mormon Church, had a squirrel problem, and it was our fault for always proselyting to them. This is true. This is a squirrel. You can see it's on a carpet of some kind. It seems to be indoors, as if lured by instinct towards irresistible peanuts. This is the leg of my missionary companion, Elder Green, 24 years old, and possessor of irresistible peanuts. Now, we wouldn't just lure any random squirrel into our apartment, so we named him Gideon. And he was a good boy. Or girl. How would we know we were missionaries? Now, I know now that you're not supposed to feed wild animals or lure them into your apartment or create obstacles to see what they can accomplish. But I could relate. Well, he jumped onto that on only his second try. It was really impressive. But I could relate to Gideon. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. Have you ever felt outside of your comfort zone? Imagine being a 19-year-old boy. And if that weren't bad enough, imagine being thousands of miles away from your family for the first time, asked to talk about your religion to complete strangers. Which religion is Mormonism in the South? Some background. I was ahead of my time as a teenager. In 2003, I was antisocial and addicted to the internet before it was cool. I always knew that I wanted to be a missionary. I believed in my faith. I wanted to share it with others. And being a missionary to a young Mormon boy is like getting married. It's something you know you want to do, but you're in no way qualified to ever do it. And when you put in your papers, your application to become a missionary, you could be assigned anywhere in the world, minus war zones or communist countries. And I was assigned to North Carolina. This is the Missionary Training Center. If you are assigned to speak in your native language, you get to spend 2 weeks there. If you're speaking a foreign language, you get to spend 2 months there. Despite being called to North Carolina, I only had 2 weeks. We immersed ourselves in the doctrine, some how to teach, some basic role plays. That's me in the middle. And then we were off. I was officially out of my comfort zone. And I was no longer awkward 19-year-old Andon Carling. I was awkward 19-year-old Elder Carling. So I arrived in North Carolina on October 13th, 2003. I met my first companion, who would be my trainer, named Elder Lang. And my first area was Durham. And I expected to go and unpack my bags, settle in, get ready for what would essentially be the next 2 years. But nope, after 2 years, after 5 minutes, felt like 2 years. He said, we've got an hour until our next appointment, let's go tracting. Now, tracting is missionary language for what you think of when you think of Mormon missionaries. Well, that comes later. It's knocking on doors. It's what puts you out of your comfort zone. And it's also very intimidating for us. It's kind of the least effective way of finding people, so we use it as a last resort, except for this case, apparently. Did I mention, too, it was raining? So we went over, we knocked on we were going up to the first door, and he said, I'll take the first door approach, and then I'll delegate the second one to you, and we'll just switch on and off. So we went up, he knocked on the door, and a gentle, kind woman answered the door. He said, hi, I'm Elder Lang, this is Elder Carling, we're missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We'd like to share a message with you. And she stopped us, she said, oh, thank you, bless your heart, but I already belong to a church. And closed the door. I thought, Elder, knock on the door again, tell her that's kind of the point. But he didn't. So we went over to the next door, and he said, all right, you're up. I didn't even hear your whole last spiel from the last time. And so that doesn't matter. He told me some basic, words or basic approaches that I could use. He said, just kind of trust the words that come into your mind. I knew I couldn't trust the words that were in my mind at the moment. That wouldn't be as effective. So we went up, knocked on the door. Nobody answered. Nobody was home. That was common. So my nerves kept on racking up, kept on knocking on doors. Finally, another lady opened the door. I was stunned. Hi, I'm Elder Lang. This is Elder Carling. We're missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We'd like to share a message with you. No, thanks. But you know what? I'm praying for you. Wink. Close the door. Thanks, I'm praying for you too. Now there's new missionaries in the mission field are called greenies, like bananas that aren't quite fully ripe. Some missionaries take a little longer to ripen than others. I can remember quite a few times where we would be out heading somewhere and I'd realize that I was wearing 2 different shoes from that morning. There was another time we were heading off to an appointment and I realized that my suit jacket and my pants didn't even match. And not like in the cool, sports jacket kind of way. They were just really different suits. And I turned to my companion and said, Elder, we have to go back home because people are going to think I don't know how to dress myself. And then I'll never forget his sage advice. He turned to me and he said, Elder, the truth hurts. And it was true. An interesting thing happens when you step outside of your comfort zone. You learn more about yourself. You learn more about your natural environment as well. Despite my shortcomings, with the name tag on my shirt, people expected something from me. At only 19 years old, I was dealing with people struggling with poverty, death, addiction, abuse, you name it. There were responsibilities and obstacles that I overcame that even now, looking back, I don't know that I could do again. I invited a squirrel into my apartment, and yet people were putting their trust and faith in me. I was the catalyst for changing people's lives. While I was out, I missed the 2004 presidential election, Terry Schiavo, some apparent wardrobe malfunction, and yet I saw firsthand the importance of family, timeless principles, weather forecasts. I grew more spiritually, mentally, and emotionally in those 2 years than I have in any other 2 years since. On September 27th, 2005, I took off that name tag and I came back home to Galt, California. I had no job, no school. Worse yet, I hadn't even flirted with a girl for 2 years. I was out of my comfort zone. And now my real mission began. And as for Gideon, I think he was doing okay. Madam Toastmaster.